versus, as always, a presentation of the good folks at Auto Trader, the Hamilton edition. Matt Baker, Giulio Caravetta. Giulio, it's been a solid week on the road.
Yes. Well, you're a lot busier than I am, but it's, for me, it's been nice, especially coming back to Toronto. I get a chance to see my family. I haven't seen my family in close to 2 years.
This Lions team, clock is ticking really on these playoff hopes, still very much in our hands. Tough one against the Tiger Cats, and we'll just get right into it. As far as a little bit of shuffling goes, many fans been clamoring for this potential change in the return game. Quadri Henderson, former Pitt Panthers standout, he's going to get some looks there in place of Chris Rainey. By the looks of it, that's going to be a very important element, Giulio, some new blood, as the Lions try to get something out of this return game here.
You're right. I think a lot of people have been asking about that, and it's simply said that they're just not getting anything out of that return game, and it's such a huge component of the game. They desperately need a spark there, and hopefully Quadri Henderson brings it. He's a guy that comes. A lot of people excited about him and his ability to return. He's very dynamic. He looks very good in practice, and I know that's just practice, but to get him on the field and provide a little bit of spark and hopefully some success is really going to bring this team a long way. You need your special teams to give you something in a game.
Yeah, it was a force in the running game, the receiving game, and the kicking game at Pitt. Over 1,000 return yards in his year. So looking for a spark, and that'll be key against Hamilton's kick coverage unit. Always good. Okay, we're outside. It's been a little brisk, been a little windy at practice here for these couple days, Giulio, and I'd expect that to be no different come Friday night, especially when we get late. We always talk about the line of scrimmage, but from a Lions offensive perspective, protection and opening up some holes for James Butler, you can take pressure off Michael Riley in the passing game. The line of scrimmage going to be key.
We talk about this every week, Matt. It is. I know it may sound a little redundant for the people watching, but it really is the basis of every single football game. The elements are now beginning to play a factor. We saw the rain in Toronto. We're going to see probably a very cool, crisp fall evening in Hamilton. And I think the big factor there is going to be the wind. It blows right through that stadium. It's not a crosswind. It comes from one side right through the field. Establishing that line of scrimmage is, again, so key. And we saw Michael Riley in that offense against the Toronto Argonauts really try to utilize Lucky Whitehead and take some big shots downfield. And I think that's another key to this game is getting Lucky Whitehead back for an entire week of practice. For those that don't know, he only practiced one day before the game. Correct. And so this week, I think you're gonna see probably a guy that's going to be more involved in that offense, given that he's going to get a full week of practice. You have to have the line of scrimmage in order to have the running game. You got to have the line of scrimmage in order to have the passing game. And in order to utilize the talents of a Lucky Whitehead and a Brian Burnham, you need all those things to fall into place in order to really capitalize on all their abilities. Hamilton is always very well coached. Mark Washington does a great job. Orlando Steinhauer has done a great job as a head coach there. They're going to be prepared. They're going to be ready to go. They always play with a real energy in Hamilton. The fans are right behind them. It is an electric atmosphere there. So I'm expecting a Hamilton defense that's going to really bring it.
And even guys like me who just stand there and don't play get heckled by the fans at Tim Hortons. So
you got to make sure, Matt, that when you're in Hamilton, you got to maybe wear a spare helmet or something like that, so you get nothing thrown at you.
Hamilton has some playmakers on the other side of the ball too, right? Brandon Banks was back practicing this week. We know what Jalen Acklin is capable of. Good little test for this Lions secondary that might have a couple of small changes as well.
Yeah, we'll wait and see what happens to see in that secondary. Maybe Keontae Harden might be ready to come back. And it's all orchestrated by a guy who's, coming off of 3 straight 300-plus yard games in Jeremiah Masoli. I mean, he's a guy that he's been very, he's starting to come into his own. He's starting to look like the old Jeremiah Masoli. He's multifaceted. He can move around in the pocket. He's got great feet, great vision. And you talked about Banks and Acklin and those kinds of guys. I mean, they're all playmakers, right? So they're a dangerous team. Lions defense is going to have their hands full, and given the magnitude of the game too, Matt, like you said it right off the top, there's no margin of error here. I mean, that's that losing that game in Toronto was a big blow, right? You win that game, and there might be a little bit of a buffer there, but now there is no buffer, right? They have to win out. Hopefully, they're going to be able to do that.
Going to find out just how beneficial this extended time away has been. No doubt. Giulio, nice work. We will see you in Hamilton. And there you go. Get your helmet ready.
Don't worry, buddy. Thanks very much. And next time I see you in person, I'll make sure I bring you a nice box of fresh cannolis.
Ah, yes. From the Caravetta household. Yes.
Right. Absolutely.
Thanks, buddy.
See you, my friend. Take care.